Hi everyone, yeah, so today I'm going to be replacing this customer's front pads. So I've taken the cap off the reservoir and the engine bay already. So now I'm just going to take my pry bar and I'm going to leverage on this caliper slightly. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to push the piston back into the bore. Sometimes when the discs are worn they'll have a rust lip that makes it hard to get the pads past, and sometimes the pads are just bit on there, so it's easier for you to just leverage this off, get it in there a bit so you can get it out of the way. Just make the next stage easier. You can see there's a little bit of movement in there now. So we've leveraged in there, now we've got plenty of movement so we can get this caliper up past it. I'm going to get a 30mm spanner, my hand hammer, and knock this bolt loose. You have to excuse the noise, I'm in a transport yard of some sort whilst the customer's working. Right, so get these... I don't know what he saw, but he's not very happy about it. Anyway, get these pins out the way, and we're going to get these pads out and give it all a good clean up. I don't know if you can pick it up on the camera, but the bottom of the inside pad is worn more than the top, and it's the opposite on the outside pad. So these have obviously been seized in there for some time now. And then as you can see, they're solid to get out. We have to use the hammer. And even with the hammer, it barely wants to move, look. It's been poorly maintained. I hope your pads aren't as bad as this, please. There we are. Let's do the same on the outer pad. One that wants a little bit more attention than you. So let's just work this loose, and it will come through eventually. There we are. I'm going to give this quite a thorough clean. So I'm going to spray all the loose bits off first. I'm going to re-grease these, but it feels okay. Anyway, I'm going to use a wire brush just to scrape off the bigger chunks. These got I can't work out if it's like a stainless steel or an aluminium. I think it's stainless steel shims on them, so the rust doesn't cling to it. So it's pretty easy to clean up. But just if yours are as bad as this, just take some time now, just to make sure it's all nice and clean, even if you have to remove those shims. And then once you finish cleaning all up, make sure you blow all the rest of it away. I'm using brake clean, but if you've got compressed air, that's even better. Let's pop these out and clean these pins up. Again, I'm going to have to apologise for the sound. I'm at a customer's work, and I'm at some sort of... there's lorries all around me, and they distribute products all over the world for different companies or whatnot. But anyway, let's strip these pins out. What we're going to do is wipe the old grease off, put some new grease on it. Yeah, these are quite poor. They do need replacing, really. So I'll refit these now and then advise it to the customer. They've got rust all over them, which is stopping it from sliding as freely as it should. It's probably the issue that has caused the pads to wear the way they did. Don't forget the grease out. Looks edible, that stuff, doesn't it? Just me? Okay. There you go, just make sure it's all covered liberally. And slide it back in, make sure there's no air trapped in there, and make sure it's moving as freely as it should do. Although that rust isn't, it's going to stop it from moving as freely as it should, so it's just make it move as best as you can. And then do the same with the top. The top's not as bad as the bottom. The grease that I'm putting on here is a red rubber grease. It's specifically designed not to cause the rubber to swell, whereas a copper grease or a petroleum-based grease will. So try to avoid them, and just use the right products, and it stops you from having issues in the future. So once that's greased back up, just slide it back in. Make sure the brake hose isn't kinked or anything like that. moving back and forth freely as it should do. We now need to compress this piston in the rest of the way to make room for the new thicker pads to go in. Obviously they've adjusted to the thinner pads. Just press it back in. I'm going to use a G-clamp, but if you've got like a brake wind back tool that has an attachment for that, or a big screwdriver, you want to be just careful though that you don't push the piston too far back and it damages it. I like to use an old pad so I'm not pressing directly on the piston and damaging it. Just line that all up so nothing gets caught up anywhere or whatnot, and then just slowly work it back until the piston sits flush with the bore. Can't get my words out today, sorry people. And this is why we have the lid off the master cylinder as well, because now you're obviously pushing the fluid back in and it can create pressure. Well, it doesn't can it does create pressure in there, and you don't want to damage the seal, so if you just take the lid off, it removes the pressure. Just off camera here now, I don't know if you can see it, I don't think you can. I'm prepping the brake pads to go back in. So I'm using a metal-free brake lubricant, Caratech it is, made by Mintex. And the reason I'm using this for is because of dissimilar metals and it prevents corrosion, whereas a copper slip can sometimes encourage corrosion. And I know the old school mechanics out there might be watching this and they're about to shoot me down, but that's the truth. And also copper slip can sometimes interfere with the ABS. But anyway, put the lubricant on there and then just slide it back into place. If you have any issues getting it in at this point, take it back off and re-clean the carrier. So then there's got an anti-rattle shim on the back of the pads, so you only need to put the lubricant on the contact surfaces. I see people who take a paint roller to the back of pads with copper slip or whatnot, and it's just not needed. It's just really massively excessive. Right, once they're in, remember that you forgot to put the pins back on and lift it back up, put the springs back in. And then re-secure this caliper back down. Those springs put a bit of a pressure on it, so sometimes a little bit tricky to line it up. But just persevere, it's not like you've done anything wrong, it's just the springs are pushing the caliper back out. Once it's all lined up and it's threaded in, just tighten the rest of the way up by using a spanner or ratchet, whatever you've got to hand. I understand that my tool collection isn't the same as yours. But anyway, once that's secure, then we're going to go pump the pedal so that piston comes back up and sits nicely on the pads and the pads sit nicely on the discs. Before you pump the pedal, you want to put the master cylinder lid back on so you don't sort of suck any air in through that or introduce air into the system at all. So seal that back off, pump the pedal a few times until it gets nice and firm, and then pack everything back up. Or go into the other side, depends on how far you got into the job at this point. If you haven't done the other side, hop onto that. If you have, go take a break. Thanks for watching, guys. If that video, guys, and you found it helpful, please hit the like button and the subscribe button. I know that most of you are just watching this because you're a CRV that you need to change the front pads on and not really interested in anything else that's on here. But I really appreciate the support, so if you can just hit that subscribe button for me, that would be awesome. Cheers, thanks guys, enjoy the rest of your day, bye.